Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Common Sense with Conn Radio Talk Show here on AM 1400 KTEM. The phone number to call in here if you are a mind to call in and make a comment or start an argument or whatever it is.
As long as it's respectful.
The phone number is 773-1400 or 254-773-1400.
We also have a back line.
Yeah, we also have another line.
That's 254-771-2463. And that's Conn Tatum, and I'm his sidekick for the afternoon, Tina Gary.
Yeah, I'd like to welcome Tina here. She helped me on this thing. She tries to keep me straight and
organized
and on the straight and narrow and things like that.
That's impossible.
Sometimes I kind of waver off to the right or the left, but not too awful bad. But mostly when I venture off the straight and narrow, I usually fall off on the right side. So for those of you who are members of the far left, you're
welcome to call, just as long as you're respectful.
Yeah, you're welcome to call, but if you want to use a bunch of dirty language or if you want to filibuster, don't bother to call.
But we do have 4 really good things to talk about this week, don't we?
Yes, we do. It's been an exciting week, and
for the Republicans, anyway.
For the Republicans, it's been a terrible week for the Democrats, but
they may implode.
Well, yeah, but they made their own bed. Let them sleep in it.
Amen to that.
The country is being divided, and
okay. Before you go into your stuff, because you're going to go negative here, let's give a few positive. We had a maybe one of the best State of the Union addresses ever. Okay. The Green New Deal was a complete. It's like the Dems just ran naked through the streets. It showed them exactly what they were, and then the acting AG throat punched the Dems, which great. Like the chairman, he's like, "I believe your 5 minutes is up."
Yeah, the Matthew Whitaker
rolled out of my chair.
Matthew Whitaker can put his feet under my table anytime he wants to.
It was beautiful.
I thought it was great the way he handled the Democrat antagonist.
Boy, I tell you, it was contentious, combative, and just generally messy. But he did baffle him with BS. I mean, he came across like being kind of dumb and slow and not really on the uptake. And then he turned around and come around at the flank and just take him out. It was a beautiful thing.
Well, it really was. And he stood his ground. He stood up for something.
All right, so now you were going to go into, my term is like the cold Civil War. We're being divided.
Well, we are being divided, and I keep saying this, and I'll continue to say it. There ain't but 2 sides in this fight, folks. There is light and there's dark. There is good and there's evil. There is freedom and there's tyranny. There is God and there's Satan. Now, we just need to decide whose side we're on. And I would submit that the American general public had better wake up and pay attention to what's going on in this country, because you need to choose a side, folks. And if you were born and raised a Democrat, as I was, you need to decide whether you're still a Democrat or you're something else. I would not no more associate myself with the Democrat Party than I would the Communist Party or the Satanist Party or anything else. Now, if you choose to remain a Democrat, that's your business. That's your freedom. I just don't understand how anyone could do that. But
you really have to choose liberty and freedom or chain of tyranny. You have to decide which side of the argument you're going to be on. You're going to stand on, actually, with in every moment, whether it's the news story, policy proposal, a candidate form, somebody you're having breakfast with, somebody that walks by and doesn't like your hat, whatever it is, you really need to decide, are you going to take a stand, and what side are you going to stand on? Hey, I think Raymond from Temple's on the phone.
Well, and let me say, since Tina brought up the wearing of the hat, I was in a restaurant the other day, and I've got a red Trump cap that I wear, And this lady walked up and she said, I sure like your cap. Aren't you afraid to wear it? And I said, no, ma'am, I'm sure not. I said, for one reason I'm not afraid to wear it is I'm not a 15-year-old kid. I've noticed that the folks that get real ugly with somebody wearing a red Trump cap, they're usually getting ugly with a 10 or 15-year-old kid. I'm not 15 years anymore. I'm a little bit older than that. And, if you don't like my cap, don't look at it. Real simple. At any rate, we got a man holding on the phone here. I think his name is Raymond. And Raymond, what in the world you got going this morning? Or this evening?
I just wanted to make a brief comment on something I've been thinking about there, Con. Before I make that comment, I was just going to say that lady, if she would have approached me and told me something like that, I would have told her, you know what, lady, you need to breathe through your nose and keep your mouth shut. Don't bother me because you won't like the outcome of it. And that's all I got to say. But either way it goes, this governor from Virginia, even though, there's been a lot of topic, a lot of news concerning that guy, but if 25, 30, 40, 50 years ago, this is what I'm going to say. If you apply for a concealed handgun license, I'll guarantee you that they're going to take you all the way back 30 years. If they find any kind of discontinued stuff that you might have done back then, I guarantee you they're not going to give you your license. You might as well forget about it. That governor, he runs the state of Virginia. He makes a lot of important decisions there. What he did back then, that's a mindset. He wasn't no kid. He was a grown man, and he needs to be kicked out of that office and put somebody decent in there that's going to do right for the people. And that's just the way I look at it. A lot of other people have their own opinion, but that's how I think about it. That guy made them statements. That guy did what he did, and he needs to be put out and put somebody in there because his mindset was already in him and breeded in him, and he's probably even worse as it is as years went by, but he don't let nobody know.
Now, Raymond, are you talking about the governor who went in blackface, or are you talking about the lieutenant governor who's assault and rape?
No, either one of them, they both need to get out. Both of them, the governor with the blackface and the other one too.
Well, that's an excellent comparison, Raymond, because something that would disqualify you for getting a pistol carry permit would not disqualify you for being governor of a state. So that's kind of a heck of a comparison there, and we need to think about that.
Listen, Conrad, I know you got other business to take care of. I just want to make one more brief comment. Us, as citizens of this United States, we have to make the right decisions, vote in the right people to take care of our business, because if we don't, we're going to have all these people destroying everything that we're trying to work for. And that's what's happening right now. You have a good day, and God bless you, and thank you, Con, for allowing me to get on your program and say what I had to say.
Well,
thank you.
All I can say to you, Raymond, is amen.
Raymond, thanks for the call.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We had better be paying attention to who we're voting for, who we are putting in office to control our lives. I said not long ago to someone, last Sunday, they were really watching the football game, and that's okay. But I asked somebody, I said, if you live another 20 years in this country or another 30 years, the life expectancy is 80. So if you're 30, you got another 50 years to go. So you're going to tell me that you never you never talk politics or religion? You're too busy watching football? I got a question for you. How does the score in that football game affect your life for the rest of the time you live in this country? Whether that's
or your children.
Yeah, or your children. Now, as opposed to that, what happens in the halls of Congress this week may very well affect your life for the rest of your life in this country. So you might want to pay a little bit less attention to the football game and pay more attention to the proceedings of the U.S. Congress or your state legislature.
or your because it's going to it won't just affect your life, your children's life, but it may even affect your grandchildren's life. This may not be the country that you think it is by the time they're born or your children are old enough to have children.
Yeah, and let's face reality.
Fast.
You look at how many Democrats are endorsing socialism. Look at Bernie Sanders. Look at Ms. Cortez. Look at this Green New Deal they're proposing.
Well, they're relating it not to Venezuela but to Norway, and they're saying they're packaging it up and putting a pretty little bow with glitter on it.
Yeah, well, if you think Norway is great, move to Norway. If you think socialism is so successful, there is a airplane that'll take you down to Venezuela. Just get on it. But I don't want any part of socialism. Right now, today in Venezuela, it was just on the news this morning, hospitals don't have any medicine. They don't have any antibiotics. They don't have any kind of medication in Venezuela. The president down there has blocked any food aid from the United States. They've blocked any medical aid from the United States. If that is the kind of socialism you'd like to see here in this country, my advice would be just get on an airplane and go to Venezuela. Take your suitcase with you and a one-way ticket.
Well, 2 points on that. One, aren't they slipping oil out to Russia and trying to sell it off that way? And two, where are all those people from Venezuela going to go?
Yeah, if you saw the news this morning, there are hundreds of thousands of people in the streets in Venezuela demonstrating. They're demonstrating because they can't buy food. They can't get medical care. Now what are those people going to do next? They are probably going to form a caravan and start heading toward the United States. So we're not talking about 10 or 20 people walking across the Rio Grande River into Texas. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about tens of thousands of people flooding into our country. And those people don't have the same values that we have. They don't have the same work ethic we have. They don't have the same religious freedom and ethics that we have. Is that what we want to do with this country? We better wake up and pay attention, folks. This is pretty serious business. And Rick is in Salado, and he's going to explain all this to us. Rick, are you there?
Yes, sure is cold, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
It's warming up. Things are melting.
Yeah, I know. I like seeing the ice in the trees. That was really...
It was pretty this morning, wasn't it?
Well,
yeah, but Conn's getting all agitated and flustered and stuff, so everything's going to warm up and start melting here.
Yeah, I get to thinking about this Cortez woman that wants to stop all of the fossil fuels and stuff like that, and I'm wondering
you're going to thaw out the whole state?
If it gets real cold next winter, how are we going to heat our homes?
I'm funny you mentioned that because that's why I called.
Uh-oh.
She may seem like a complete idiot, this Cortez woman. And it may be laughable to hear her that new Green New Deal where it talked about cow flagellants and all this stuff. Yeah, it's good comedy material, but it's really quite serious because I've heard this stuff all of my life. First it was global warming, then it was what do they call it? Climate change. People in academia have been wanting to get rid of the internal combustion engine since I was 20 years old.
Well, Rick, when I quit laughing about it was when I saw how many Democrats are endorsing her plan.
Yes, and it's just this whole global warming, climate change debate is actually, I think Rush hit it right on the head when he said that it's the new socialist movement. This environmentalism is the new socialist movement, and you can really, the way you can tell that it's true is because the only people who really believe it are the brainwashed kids that were brought up in the government schools and Democrats.
Well, Rick, I'm starting to refer to a lot of people as educated idiots because they have spent their life in the university and they don't have any common sense, none whatsoever. And they will, if they endorse her plan, the Green Deal, how stupid do you have to be to read her plan and then endorse it? And
well, it was ridiculed so much, she had to take it off of her webpage. And because of the way she wrote it, it was written like a high school, like a dumb high school student might write a report about global warming or something and what to do about it. That's basically what it was. It was very juvenile. It was badly written. She can hardly talk without saying "like" all the time.
But how many college-educated people are endorsing her plan, Rick? That's what's scary.
I don't know. How are they going to get to Hawaii and have a vacation if there's no air travel?
Well,
and how the heck are you going to get the rest of the world to go along with that?
Well, that's easy, Rick. They're going to have high-speed rail that goes from here to Hawaii and from here to France.
Yeah, in 10 years.
Yeah, it's going to take a heck of a tunnel operation to get that high-speed rail there, but either that or they can put them on floats, I guess, or something.
I know it's easy to make fun of this stuff, but it's really serious because all these kids really believe this stuff about how, she said, I know that she makes it sound ridiculous. We only have 12 years until the Earth's over. That's easy to ridicule. But they really believe this stuff, and it's scary in that way.
Well, it is scary, Rick. It is scary. It's there's not very many things that I'm really scared of, but I am scared of the direction that America is headed in, and the people that are leading that effort. They scare me.
Thank God for President Trump. Did you hear him on that State of the Union in front of those people's faces? This is not a socialist country, and it never will be. I'm paraphrasing.
Well, I was jumping up and down in the living room, clapping and hollering "Amen." I didn't.
Thank you for. I'm sorry.
I didn't see any Democrats jumping up and down clapping, but I sure was.
It was funny. Anyway, Nancy Pelosi needs to blink every once in a while.
Well, I've decided to start a new movement, Rick, and you might want to join in. You're hearing so much about impeach Donald Trump. I want to start a movement called Impeach Nancy.
And Chuck.
And Chuck, they need to be impeached and run out of town on a rail.
Yeah, because Roger Stone thinks that the Democrats are going to try to get rid of Trump and Pence. That would make Nancy Pelosi president. She would appoint Hillary as vice president, and then she would step down, and Hillary would be president.
Well, see, Rick, we laugh about that, but I'm not laughing.
I'm not either.
Them idiots that are endorsing Ms. Cortez's plan and those kinds of people, the people that are backing up Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, they're serious. And this is a serious threat to our republic and our freedom and our liberty and everything else. Now,
before I go, I'll just say that Bernie Sanders is a democratic socialist, and so is Miss Cortez. And the Democratic Socialist Party celebrated Karl Marx's birthday.
And I believe that's who a fellow named Adolf belonged to.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for your time, and I really enjoy the show.
Well, thank you, Rick. You done got my motor started here.
Rick, by the way, I wanted to bring up, I'm sorry, I had to take a call for Conn. I wanted to bring up the fact that on Conn's Facebook page, there was several people that commented about, oh, she's nuts, she's crazy. They were very dismissive. Don't listen to her, don't pay her any mind, yada, yada, yada. And I went back and I said to them, my comment back to them was, yeah, she may be Looney Tunes, okay? However, she is a threat, and you need to perceive her as a threat. Oh, he's gone. Well, I hope he heard me.
Yeah, we better be paying attention to what's going on, because while we're busy laughing at Ms. Cortez, there are people backing her plan.
Yeah, there's something out there. I didn't get a chance to look it up about that. Somebody's already done the research, and it was on the news of who's backing her, where's the money coming from, who's the organization behind her. But I never got a chance to to
Well,
do the background research on it.
You don't think it'd be George Soros or Tim Steyer or anybody like that, do
or
you?
Obama.
Or Obama or Hillary. Like I keep saying, but we better wake up, folks. This ain't funny. It's time to stop laughing and start resisting this. The Democrats are known as the resistance to Donald Trump. Well, we the people had better start the resistance to the Democrat Party because they're trying to destroy this country. And we better wake up and pay attention. So, and I think I better wake up and pay attention that we're going to go to a break. So y'all don't run off. We'll be right back in a minute. Aha! Talk to 'em, Bob. Tell them boys how to play them fiddles and them guitars. Makes everybody want to get out there on that dance floor and push around that sawdust. Grab that good-looking lady and get out there. Up. Okay, shut up, Con. I better go back to talking about business here.
You were having young thoughts.
Okay, yeah. We listen to Glenn Beck occasionally. My wife does more than I do, but he has brought up some good points that we all need to consider. And it's so hard to get truthful news. Most of CNN, NBC, and ABC, places like that, they try to talk about something emotional and sensational, and but they kind of forget about what's true.
Okay, may I bring up something?
Yes, ma'am.
Why don't you qualify what truthful news is? In this case, because somebody may think, oh, well, he's biased. But in your perspective, things that he has said a year or two ago have come true. And then in other cases, like some of the things on Fox News are very fact-based, and nobody is contesting them. They'll contest stuff or the situation with emotions, but they won't contest it with facts back.
Well, and they protested because it's not politically correct. When political correctness conflicts with the truth, whose side are you on? Well, it's not a hard decision for me to make. I don't care about political correctness. If I offend someone, so be it. If I'm telling the truth and they don't like to hear the truth, then don't listen. It's like the red cap I'm wearing. If you don't like to look at it, don't look. But I'm not going to alter what is truth just to comply with political correctness.
And tell them what you told me this morning about its memories.
Yeah.
Things have changed.
One problem that I have is I'm old enough to have memories of some of the common sense things that we used to live by. Old sayings that are so true today. Silence is consent. That old saying is really true today. If you see what's happening in the Democrat Party and you don't say anything, then I guess you agree with it. And you're part of the problem because silence is consent. It's like that old country music song, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Well, that is very, very true, and that's why silence is consent. So, and, don't be a go along, get along. That's another old saying. If you're a go along, get along, then you don't stand for anything. You're just following the crowd. You're not a Brangus bull. You're a sheep. You just follow the crowd.
You get herded by a dog.
Yeah, you just in part of the herd. So what good are you?
Okay, now that I got you off track, what were you going to say about Glenn Beck and what he
Oh,
brought up?
Yeah, Glenn Beck was talking. 2 points I want to bring up. One is he has done some research on some groups that were started back in 1886 by a black minister. I forgot where he was at. But anyway, he started a group that's now split into 3 different groups: the black Israelis, the black Hebrews, and the black something else. But anyway, he brought out the point that the black Hebrews believe that Jesus Christ was black, and that Jesus Christ is going to come back to the earth, and he will appoint that group to kill all the white people, commit white genocide. Now, that's laughable, and you kind of discount that as being 9 kinds of insanity, but let's not forget that there was a PhD holding professor at George Washington University that was recently on the news, and I'm quoting him when he said, "America has to have white genocide." Think about that, folks. Do you know what genocide is? Do you know what Adolf practiced in Germany in the 30s and 40s with the Jewish people?
The Holocaust isn't real. Never happened.
Well, there's an awful lot of dead Jewish people in Europe that would beg to differ with us.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of people still alive that are tattooed and stamped and embossed.
Yeah. That brings up another short story. I heard this.
Going now.
Yeah, you done got me started. I forgot where I heard this, but there was some young folks working at a ski lodge in Idaho, and the ski lodge owner was kind of tight, about like folks like me, and every day he fed the employees sauerkraut and weenies, and 2 of the employees was standing there at the counter, and they were griping about having to eat sauerkraut every day for dinner. And one of them, a young man, he said, "Well, this is awful. This is horrible, having to eat sauerkraut. This is terrible. This is a real problem." And the old man standing beside him said, "No, sonny boy," said, "this is not a problem. It's an inconvenience." He said, "This right here was a problem." And he pointed to the tattooed numbers on his left arm that he got in the concentration camp in Dachau or wherever it was, that was a problem. Having to eat sauerkraut every day is an inconvenience. So we need to understand there's a difference between an inconvenience and a problem.
Hey, Kevin's on the phone from Temple.
Oh, okay. Kevin, you're up, son. Go ahead on.
Yes, good afternoon. I originally called in about misinformation about immigration.
Right.
So I'll just say one thing about that, because I really believe that there's misinformation being spread by your previous show that you have on KTN. But there's often this talking point that illegal immigrants do not commit as much crime as the average American citizen, and that's just not true. What they usually do is they put illegal immigrants and legal immigrants in the same bag, and then say immigrants don't commit as much crime as unnatural citizens. But that's the problem with that is legal immigrants are typically squeaky clean.
They're much more respectful.
I'm sorry?
They're much more respectful.
Well, yeah, they're much more, but they're squeaky clean because they have to have shots, they have to have criminal background checks. I mean, when they get let in, they know everything about them, and they don't let them in if they have criminal records.
Well, Kevin, let me ask you, what of my previous statements are you objecting to?
No, not yours. The previous show.
Oh, the previous show. I'm sorry.
And now, illegal immigrants, there are no background checks on them at all, ever. So they just come in, and if you are of means at all, you try to come in legally. But if you don't have any means, you don't have any money, you may be a criminal or whatever, you couldn't get in legally, then what do? You come in illegally. So illegal immigrants demonstrably create or commit more crimes than the average American citizen. The other thing is, I hate to disagree with the president, but I think that we are already a socialist country. I mean, I don't want us to be a communist country, and that's what people like Ocasio-Cortez are talking about. I mean, she's talking about free everything, free health care, free college, free a job for everybody. I mean, that's basic. That's communism. That is not socialism. But look at us. We have public schools. We have public housing. We have Medicaid. We have food stamps. I mean, people can name many other things that we have that are socialist.
We have federal employees that you can't fire. We have public employees that are too sorry to work, but they get paid every month.
Yeah,
but Kevin, I agree with you. But my thing is, if he had actually said that yeah, we're a socialist country, but I'm not going to allow us to become a communist country. Yeah. What do you think the uproar would be then?
Oh, yeah, he couldn't say that because people, and I've had discussions with colleagues about the issue, and Americans just don't want to believe that. They don't want to believe we're a socialist country.
Well, let me tell you why they don't want to believe it, Kevin. I was just talking to a young man just earlier today, and I read somewhere a statement made by a psychologist, psychiatrist, whatever you want to call them, and he made the statement that it's human nature. Your first response to anything negative is denial. If somebody tells you you've got cancer, your first response is, oh, no, I don't. It's denial. So when you're talking about us already being on the road toward socialism, and you're right, people don't want to hear that.
No, they don't.
They want to deny that, even though it's true.
Exactly. My last comment is about the governor of Virginia and the blackface and all that stuff. I guess maybe I'm different from a lot of people, but I don't think that you should lose your job because you went to a party 30 years ago in blackface. I mean, it wasn't done maliciously, unless you can show me that it was done maliciously. I just don't. I think people get. It's just too much political correctness, and pretty soon people are not going to be able to do or say anything unless it's approved.
Well, do you think it was really...
Let me make this one more point. What's going to happen when people say that, well, wearing a MAGA hat is the same as going on blackface. We need to outlaw those. Are we going to take them off?
That.
Yeah.
You know, are we going to take them off? Because that's the issue. It's not wearing blackface, because I just don't think that's maliciously done when you go to some party or take some picture at some gathering. I mean, it's just not malicious.
Well, take note, Kevin, that it's only malicious if you're a Republican.
Exactly. And that's another issue, you know. So I think too much is being made of that. Now, his statement about in support of after birth abortion, to me, that is something he should resign over.
Yeah, but they're not going to talk about that. That's too much of a hot topic.
That's horrible.
It's murder.
If this country accepts that kind of thing, then there's nowhere but down for us.
Well,
I
look,
agree.
Kevin, look at what the news media is doing. They are using the blackface thing to deflect the real conversation about abortion.
About murder.
Exactly. That is exactly what they're doing.
Look at how they now describe murder, infant suicide, whatever word they're putting on it, and all that new word does is confuse older folks. Why not just call it what it is? The shedding of innocent blood is murder.
Exactly.
Well, infant suicide, that child cannot kill itself.
No.
Well, and if there's ever innocent blood in this world, it's a newborn baby or a baby in the womb.
And you can't talk about this being the woman's body and her choice, because this isn't in her body anymore.
Exactly.
No.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I love the show.
Thank you, Kevin. Don't lose the phone number. But, since Kevin got me off on abortion issue, let's look at what we're doing here, folks. We're letting the mother of that baby in Virginia decide after the baby is born whether she wants to keep it or not. Now, think about this for just a minute. What if the lady was really wanting a girl baby and the baby is a boy? Well, she can kill it. What if, on the other hand, the lady looks at the baby and says, oh my gosh, that baby has red hair and I wanted a baby with black hair, so let's kill it. Is that where we're going?
Or if she doesn't know whether it's her husband's or somebody she had an affair with, and it comes out looking like, the guy she had an affair with, and she just kills it. Why isn't it just mandatory they don't just put it up for adoption? Okay, so we got two calls, one on the second line, one on the first line. This is Bill and Temple on the second line.
Okay, Bill, go ahead on. Bill, are you there?
Hang on, we're working on it. We got a little technical difficulties here.
Hold on just a minute, Bill. We're coming.
That's a noise.
Okay, we got you, Bill.
Nope.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can barely hear you. We're going to tune it up. Just a second. All right, keep talking. Can you hear us?
Okay. I wanted to ask if you had a number or anything. My CHL expired.
Do we have anybody that can do a concealed handgun license?
I
think you can apply. If you already have one, I think you can just go online and re-up.
Go online to
the state.
tax
The state.
state.
Yeah, and you can just re-up there. You don't have to go and take the class again.
How about the $40 charge?
I don't remember how much it is. It's not much money at all, though.
I think it's about $40.
Okay. Well, like I said, all that information's online, and you should be able to just re-up within like 15 minutes.
Well, and Bill, go ahead and give them the $40 because I would rather have you in a restaurant with me in case something bad happens than I had somebody that. So, go ahead and give them the $40. Do it for me.
All right.
Thank you for calling. I hope that helped.
Okay, thank you, Bill.
And we got John and Temple.
I believe we got John and Temple on the line. John, are you there?
I am. Good morning, folks.
Hey, John.
Hey, I think we ought to file a lawsuit.
Okay.
I think we ought to file a lawsuit against Cracker Barrel.
Really?
What'd they do?
Insensitivity to white folks.
There you go. Okay.
Because you sure couldn't have an N-word barrel restaurant, right?
Yeah, you're bringing up a good point. Whether it's Starbucks or what it is.
Or a Gringo barrel.
Yeah, and whatever happened to just plain old common sense? It doesn't matter if somebody is black, white, green, or purple.
I want to be polka dotted.
Right's right and wrong is wrong.
Right, and then that lady was calling in about that last show. She was calling in because I had said something to those guys. And their idea was, is if when the going gets tough for the white folks in this country, we're going to go back to England. And I said, well, you're a whole different kind of white guy than I am. We broke away from those folks because we didn't want to be no part of them. So these colors don't run.
Well, and I tell you, a lot of the left-wing folks, John, they need to be careful what they wish for. Because right now I think the left-wing Democrats are pushing gun control, they're pushing political correctness, all this kind of stuff. And at some point, I'm not sure when, but at some point, the armed folks, white, black, green, or purple, they're going to stand up for something. And when they do, it's going to be tough out there in the big world. But I think that's what they want, John.
I know they do. But this Alexandria Cortez, I don't know what her business plan for the USA is, but the Bible says that you will know them by their fruits.
Yes.
And I see that President Trump brings wealth and prosperity, and I think Ms. Cortez's plan brings poverty and despair. And then my example is, see Venezuela. Now, here's my solution for Venezuela. What we need to do is go down there and colonize Venezuela and show them what right looks like.
Well,
now I'm just joking.
No, I know you are, but there is a thing to be made for doing that.
You made him pierce his eyebrows. He's having to think.
Down there.
Well,
they need some better management.
See, we've got another problem on the horizon that people don't realize, and that is that Russia and China is going to Venezuela, going around the sanction laws and buying their petroleum products, their oil. And
I believe it.
That's not the only problem with Russia and China.
Yeah.
I mean, the Dems have Trump all, tied up with all this investigation stuff, while Russia and China are doing a bilateral stance to try to do a new world order. And I mean, they've been working on it for several years, and it's now out in the open, so to speak, whoever's willing to report it. But there's a lot of information out there that's legit, that's government information that people can look up. But it's a dangerous thing.
Well, but as I said a while ago, if you're not watching Glenn Beck on the news, or if you're not watching Fox News, you don't have the foggiest damn notion of what's going on in the world. If all you listen to is CNN.
Anyway. They're not going to tell you anyway, Mr. Tatum. They're not going to tell you. It conflicts with their plan. It conflicts with the New World Order for you to know what's going on.
Yeah.
So you ain't supposed to know what's going on. That's why they want you to be. They want everybody to be dumb, fat, and happy in the USA.
Well, the dumber the better.
And that's what we've become. Seriously, John.
Yeah, I know. They want you to keep you good on the farm.
Well, go down and just look at how many people they're not overweight, they are vastly overweight. Go down to H-E-B or Walmart, and you just take note of how many women are pushing a grocery basket with an 8 or 10-year-old kid riding in the basket. We're raising children too damn lazy to walk. Now, is that what we want to do in this country?
Well, and also the parents are too damn lazy to rein them in and teach them manners and respect to be out in public, so they put them in the basket.
That's probably true too. But when's the last time you seen kids out playing football in the front yard like we used to do when we was growing up?
That's too scary. They'll be stolen. But who wants to steal all those brats?
My parents were like, if you don't get out of this house, it's like 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning in the summertime. You need to get outside. And they didn't expect to see me back until it was dark.
Well, see, Conn had 7 kids. I had 4 boys. They're all outside.
Yeah.
We didn't have all these fearful, horrified and terrified types of parents like they have today. Horrified. Everybody's so dadgum horrified. Even Glenn Beck, every time he turns around, he's going, "Oh, I'm horrified. Oh, I'm terrified."
Well, but
oh, you know.
Do you remember a few years ago that they it was up north somewhere. They took the kids away from a family, and they went, I think it was like 2 years of like CPS investigations and stuff, because the woman let her daughter walk to the park that was 1 block away, and she was 7 years old or 8 years old. Maybe she was 10. I don't remember. But that was completely unsafe. And it was like in a gated community or some other ridiculous thing. Okay? And they took the child away for neglect. And putting her in harm's way.
I wasn't allowed to carpool to school. I was forced to walk. So I would know what that means.
Well, John, people like us are just different, I guess. But some of the things that we did with our 7 children, I guess they would put us in the federal penitentiary today for child abuse. But our children did not ride in the grocery cart. They walked. When we went to the grocery store, we would hand them a 5-gallon sack of sugar or a gallon jug of vinegar, whatever, and let them carry it. They were doing that when they were 4 or 5 years old.
Mine too.
We had children doing chores when they were 4 or 5 years old.
Yep.
But
my 2-year-old granddaughter does chores right now.
When's the last time you seen a kid out there cutting grass?
Yeah.
All they got is illegals running around cutting grass. They don't have none of their kids to go out there. Kids don't even know how to start the dadgum lawnmower.
Well, and I keep saying I'm really concerned, scared, worried, whatever you want to call it. But look at the direction that this country is headed in. This road that we are traveling, called socialism or whatever you want to call it. Where's the end of the road? What is the destination of this road that Ms. Cortez wants us to travel?
Well, we have the damage being...
She wants us to be under the control of the UN. She wants us to lose sovereignty as a nation, because that's the track we were on with Obama and Hillary. See, that's where we were going, and then we got sidetracked. Hillary was supposed to get in, then she was going to they were going to take our guns away. Remember, that's the way it was headed. And then Obama wasn't going to have nothing to do, so he was going to end up being up there Secretary General probably. And then he was going to control every nation as the Secretary General, because everybody was going to be subjugated to the UN, United States included.
John, I got a question for you. You've heard the story about the Trojan horse. The enemy could not breach the walls of the city, so they built this wooden Trojan horse and parked it outside the gate, and the people opened the gates and brought the Trojan horse in. Do you know what the Trojan horse's name was?
Go ahead,
I think the horse's name was Barack Hussein Obama.
Well, there you go.
We brought the Trojan horse in, and the Trojan horse was full of soldiers that helped to destroy the city from within.
And where is all his good qualification come from? He never was a captain of industry. He was never all he was a community organizer. Let me tell you, what communism, community, commune, kibbutz, it's all the same thing. All right?
Yeah,
Well, we were talking this morning about the fact that I was saying this was a cold civil war that we were in, and Conn was turning around and goes, that's exactly what they want to do, is to declare the fact that the United States is having a civil war so they can turn us over to the United Nations, so the United Nations can come in and take us over.
You better watch out. They're going to label you with toxic femininity there.
Yeah.
Well, bring it on.
Well, John, we appreciate your call. And, don't lose the phone number, so call in again sometime.
Good call, thank you.
Have a great day.
But you got to be careful, John. You get me stirred up, and then away we go. We're probably not complying with the political correctness police. So
That's all right. The truth hurts, but you know what? Somebody's got to deliver it.
You
Well-
betcha. Have a good day.
You too.
Thank you, John. Well, I hope that's what this show is about. I hope it's about truth and values and things of that nature. And I think that, are you saying we got,
No, you got 3 more minutes to talk, and then we got a hard break.
I can't believe this. It is, the first hour is almost gone.
Well, what are you going to talk about for 3 minutes?
Well, I don't know, but I'll tell you what, time flies when you're having fun. So,
By the way, you know, they said something about the governor of Georgia having a medical background. He was a doctor.
Virginia,
Yeah, but he was. I was trying to find my note. I don't know where I did with it. But anyway, they he served in the Army, I think it was, down here in San Antonio, and then he went to Walter Reed, where he did a fellowship in child neurology.
Yeah,
You know, and then he got out and became, you know.
this is a baby doctor that advocates killing babies after they're born.
Okay, we got AJ on the phone. You got 2 minutes to yak, AJ.
AJ, you got 2 minutes.
Hey, man. Hey, I know you got cows, and I've worked on a dairy. I got to ask something.
Uh-oh.
Have you ever seen a cow fart?
Never have seen it, and for that matter, I guess I never have smelled it. I've been around cows all my life.
Well, they had a professor from the Ozarks, the University of the Ozarks, in the cow barn this morning on Fox, and they were trying to talk about the fact that, that they really do produce that much methane gas, you know, like farts and all this kind of stuff, and they've been researching for years.
They've been doing this for thousands of years. So.
Yeah. Hey, I got a short Trump joke. Is that all right? It's not nasty or anything.
Yes, sir. You go ahead on.
You got 1 minute.
We got 1 minute, so
Okay.
hurry.
Trump's coming off the helicopter, and he comes down and salutes the Marine there, and the Marine says, "Hey, those are cute little pigs. You got 2 baby pigs." He said, "Those are cute little pigs." And Trump says, "Yeah, I got one of these. They're Arkansas Razorbacks." Said, "I got one for Pelosi, and I got one for Schumer." And the Marine says, "Excellent choice, sir."
So if you had anything else you wanted to talk about, you're welcome to give us a call back right after this hard break.
Okay, all right.
All right, thank you, AJ. All right.
Yeah.
There we go.